Hey, Lord. Oh, I've got to put up the game. Whoopsie poops. Hey, hello, all you beautiful people, past, present, yes, even those in the future. Welcome back to another GU grinding stream. I hope everyone is having a fantastic night. We are so close to level 40. Yes, indeed, we are. Let's see. Why isn't it being pulled up? Oh, maybe it's because I had it set to the last .hack game. There we go. How about now? There we go. We fixed it. No, sort of. We just fixed the screen. Hey, Calcifer, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. We can fix that. There we go. Close enough. Close enough, guys. Alright, hey Jay, hey Calcifer. I hope everyone is having a good day. As we go ahead, and we're going to go and get ourselves our fancy level ups, because we only need about 11. After the end of the stream, we will be in the 40s, which means 10 more levels before the challenge is finished. And so let us start. If my controller doesn't want to work. Boom, boom. Okay, can I use my controller now? Oh no! My controller just doesn't want to work. I know! I just started! And we already have issues with the rock candy controller. Why? Okay, come on. There we go. We got it. Alright. Yeah, I mean, it happens. I'm doing good. How about you? I am doing pretty good for myself. I got some secret projects that I'm working on. Can't wait to show everyone. It's going to take a little time, but I think you guys will enjoy what I have in store. Finally figured out how to do emulation on my PC. Awesome! So, that's pretty cool, dude, because now you have opened yourself up to a wide variety of quality of life changes, like the potential to have mods for your games, like older games. It is, emulating on PC is just so nice, you know. You get to play games that are much higher quality than they initially were, you know, and, you know, just like, even if you wanted to do, like, similar to, like, say you wanted a CRT filter. I know that some emulators actually do have that. Or perhaps you want to, like, crank it up to 4K settings. You can do that as well with a lot of these emulators. Which one did you use in this time? Like, PS2, Game Boy? Oh, I didn't realize I was low on chims. Yeah, I might need to go collect some chims later. But yeah, I think one of my favorite things about emulating on PC is just the mod support. Like, just trying all the different mods that people have created for some of these older games. I'm trying to think of any mods that... Like, I've done a lot of mods for non-emulated games, but in terms of, like, games that I do emulate, I would say if you're going for, like, RetroArch. What is RetroArch? Like, what system is that for? Like, what kind of games do you play using RetroArch? Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Because, anyway, yeah. So the mods that I like playing with, I do like, you know, like any randomization mods, because it turns everything into like a roguelike or, just different ways of experiencing the same game. You know, randomization is always fun for these older games. I don't think I've ever heard of RetroArch, though. Ooh. Health drink. Yeah, by the way, we sold all of our health drinks so I could get more of the the potions, not potions, well, what's it called? Return feathers, yes. I need to go get more return feathers. Let's see, I really wanted to try to do GameCube emulation because there's some games I want to try out with the Dolphin emulator. And I hear that you can play both Wii and GameCube games on Dolphin, so that's fun. Because I've been really wanting to catch up on some of the older Nintendo titles that I missed out on when I grew up. Because I'm trying to think of like some of the games that I do want to try out for the channel. Super Mario Sunshine was one I was looking at, along with Twilight Princess. What other GameCube games were there? Luigi's Mansion. I've never actually played the Luigi's Mansion game, so that's another game I do want to give a go at some point. Let's see, what else? I'm trying to think of what other games that I really want to try out, but I haven't gotten around to it. Because there's, like, not just so many games that are in my backlog, but some of the games that are coming out, and some of the, like, new features that games already out. One of these days, I will have to take you guys through the new update for Resident Evil. Ah, no! Why do I have smoke screens? When did I get smoke screens? Oops. Anyway, yeah, one of these times I'm gonna have to take you guys through Resident Evil Requiem's Leon Must Die Forever edition, where it's kind of like a quick roguelike, you know, where you're collecting abilities, you're defeating all these zombies and undead hordes in order to get to the end where you fight the final boss. In terms of other games I do want to try out for the channel, of course we're going to do more Baldur's Gate 3. Because, you know, D&D player slash dungeon master, you know, playing the D&D game. Yeah, it's kind of... It's kind of that. It's very odd to describe RetroArch, but it's a simple way to describe it. It's a giant emulator manager. You have tons of emulators on RetroArch, which I refer to as cores. Oh, interesting. Okay, so out of all the different types of emulators that you got, which one have you been focusing on the most? Do you have like a particular like system that you like to play, like GameCube games, PS2 games? Like, what have you been playing recently? Because I'm always looking for new things to try out. Boop. Boop and boop. So I'm mostly trying to think of what other games I do want to try out for the stream. Because once I get like a decent enough funds, I do want to get an Elgato capture card. You know, so that way I can stream games from my 3DS and then play some of the titles from that. Let's see what else. I think. Right now, Game Boy Advance, but I do want to get more into the PlayStation era. PlayStation era of games that I missed out, like PlayStation 1, 2, and PSP. Well, you've got tons of choices, you know, to choose from. Like, if you like, let me just go from system to system. If you like platformers, things like, why? Anyway, so if you like platformers, perhaps something like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro. But if you're looking for like fighting games, Tekken, I hear is pretty good. Let's see. What else on the PS1? But there's a lot of good movie tying games too. I used to play a lot of the Small Soldiers PS1 game growing up. It's not particularly good, but the gameplay is pretty solid. Yeah, that is one game I did want to try after the stream. For PS2, man, you've got so many choices for the PS2. Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, you got Star Ocean. You know, let's see what else. God of War, Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter. Like there's a whole lineup of excellent PS2 games that I think you would really like. And as for PSP, man, all the early PlayStation stuff are just really good. Like Final Fantasy Dissidia, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. Let's see what else you've got. I think like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. I believe that's the PSP title name. Let's see what else. I've also been playing a lot of smaller games like let's see what's it called. Like I think it's called Undead Warriors. It's a PSP game where you control a legion of the undead. I already got Symphony of the Night. Nice, very good choice. Trails of the Sky Chapter 1 and 2. Okay, also very nice games. Let's see. And Shine Blade. What is in Japanese, so I'll get the proper English translation. And Valkyria 3. I do recommend that if you haven't already, find yourself a copy of .hack Link. I think you could get it pretty cheap through either Amazon or you could probably, I think you can still get it cheap on Amazon. I don't know how much it is now, but I think I paid like maybe 20, 30 bucks to have mine imported, but this was years ago. It might change now. But yeah, get .hack Link. There's a full English translation for it. And then that way you'll get to experience that game too for the PSP. Valkyria 3, it's also a pretty good choice. Pretty solid choice of game. I've never played it, but I hear good things about it. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Original Final Fantasy VII. Oh no, you did say Final Fantasy VII. Okay. I should read. But yeah, you got so many solid choices there. Yeah, to choose from, and that's just scratching the surface of the PlayStation games. Another good, if you like Monster Hunter, I mean, yeah, you got the Monster Hunter games, but there is also things like Lord of Arcana, which is a Monster Hunter clone made by Square Enix. You know, man, so many bots. Do we get him? Okay, I'm just making sure. Give me 1 second, guys. Gotta properly ban. Okay, so it is banned. Okay, good. These stupid bots. Man, 3 bots in a row. That is just crazy, you know? Man, it's crazy that we just started and there are already 3 bots. You know, or no, 2. Okay, I miscounted. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, there's plenty of good PSP titles that I think you would like. Let's see, like Lord of Arcana. It's a Monster Hunter clone made by Square Enix. You know. Very Final Fantasy-esque, with some Monster Hunter things from it. Like Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep is on the PSP. Gladiator Begins if you like a historical action game where you kind of like fight as a gladiator trying to earn your freedom. Let's see what else. Trying to think off the top of my head. I don't have my PSP on hand, otherwise I'll tell you everything that I have in there. But oh, Breath of Fire 3, you know, get that imported. You know, that's also on the PSP. You know, I would get the PSP version, so that way, if you ever wanted to, you know, play it on a PSP, you could as well. What else? Oh, Castlevania the Dracula X Chronicles. It also comes with Symphony of the Night, but it comes with a remake of Rondo of Blood. I think you might enjoy that. Let's see, what else do I have? What else do I have in mind? For PS2 games, I recommend like some of the older Yu-Gi-Oh games, like Duelist of Roses and Capsule Monster Coliseum. Those are some pretty solid titles. The Star Wars Battlefront games, if you're interested in Star Wars or shooters. Let's see, what else? Like older Call of Duties, you know, like I think they're a little bit aged, but they still play pretty well. Trying to think off the top of my head like what games I got. Oh, also the .hack games. If you could find copies of iBox, there you go. That's something that you can emulate. Yeah, .hack Fragment is another one that you can import and then get the translation for. I do know .hack Network has a guide of how you can patch Fragment. You know, should you want to try that out. Let's see, what other games do I have? I know I have a couple of the WWE games. SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Devil May Cry 3. Yeah, the special edition in particular. That's a really good PS2 game that I highly recommend if you like Devil May Cry. Or similar to a fast-paced hack and slash. Alright, well, I think that's the right genre, but it's action. Either way, it's an action series. Let's see, what else? Like, in terms of RPG series, again, you got Kingdom Hearts, you got Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 10. I know Final Fantasy Tactics is on the PSP as well. That is a beloved game. I'm trying to think. I don't play PS1 games all too much, but I'm trying to think. I can't really think of any PS1 games. Oh, excuse me. Wow. I can't really think of any PS1 games off the top of my head that you might like, Jay. But I love the normal ones like Spyro, Crash. I think Parappa the Rapper is also on PlayStation 1. If I recall, I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2, but I know that's a PlayStation title. Pretty good one at that. Let me see. What else? What else do I have in mind? The Castlevania PS2 games, Lament of Innocence and Curse of Darkness. Fantastic games. Honestly, if you love Castlevania, like especially Curse of Darkness, it is such a wonderful game. Like I played it on stream a couple of times already. It's like it holds up very well. Hey Jordan, how's it going? Straight nostalgia to the brain with this one. Yeah, we're talking about like various PlayStation games. Jay ended up getting himself a emulator, so I'm just recommending some games that he could buy, and then just kind of like play through that. Yeah, just like so many good PlayStation games. Like I think like PlayStation did a really good job with their titles, like early on in the PS1 and PS2, and I guess there's some on the PS3 as well. Like there was a lot of good titles. Fox Girl, hi, how's it going? We're getting .hack 0, life worth living. Heck yeah, we are sending well as .hack fans. Yeah, I actually talked to like someone earlier today about .hack 0 and predictions and everything. Realistically speaking, I think it's going to be released next year, second quarter. But my hope is that 0 gets released on .hack Day, which is August 7th. I mean, considering that they, you know, released the trailer at 8/7, you know, I'm just saying, like, it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't release Zero on .hack Day. But either way, I am pretty excited for Zero. Yes, it is just... We still don't know much about it, and I've been speculating on a lot of what the plot is going to be. I'm still under the belief that Zero is a reboot of the IMOC story with some added elements. Because everything is right there. You've got the Kites, Black Rose, and Balmung characters. You have someone in a coma. You've got Scathe, you know, and his wand. Then you've got Or giving this Kite stand-in a bracelet that has the power to use data drain. Like, there's just so much in that one trailer alone that screams IMOC. We have data drain, yes, and I'm just curious. I'm just thinking, what is data drain going to look like in Zero? Is it going to be like IMOC, where you could just reduce an enemy's level to 1, or is it going to be like GU based, where it's just like an animation with some minor like things added? But realistically, they're probably going to release it next year, which is fine by me, now that they have the chance to play the Call of Duty. Yeah, realistically speaking, I do think it's going to release next year. Probably second quarter, if I had to take a guess. But here's the thing, I mean, the game already looks... Like, we haven't seen the gameplay yet, but considering we already have a sort of... We have a trailer that shows some of the cutscenes. Like, most of the framework, and even just kind of like the animation looks smooth. Everything looks polished. Like, you can see the detail in a lot of things in that presentation. So it's safe to say that they are a good amount of... They have a good amount of progress on it. Like, maybe they just need a little bit more time to spruce up the gameplay, but for me, it looks like a completed game. Like, I know it was just a 1-minute video, but... Like, considering that they already have the framework, the character design, I imagine the storyboards, the story all written out and organized, you know, and so I really do think it, like, for me personally, I think it's going to come out this year with either an announcement at Summer Games Fest or Anime Expo. You know, that's my prediction. Where am I right? I have no idea. I hope I'm right, but... I mean, realistically... I keep saying... I need to stop saying realistically speaking. I'm thinking, if we were going to find out anything about .hack Zero, I would imagine that there would be some announcement at Summer Games Fest. You know, because, you know, middle of the year, you know, that's where a lot of, like, game announcements happen, you know, outside of the Game Awards and such, so it would make sense, considering that. It would be so cool if it were soon. Yes, I agree. I think it would be so cool too. Because it's been, I want to say 13 years since .hack Link, and I don't know when the .hack Versus came out, but it wasn't, like, it wasn't a mainline game. Link was a mainline game. So, in terms of that, 13 years since the last .hack game. But if we're talking like Versus, probably maybe 11 or 12, something like that. Still though, you know, over a decade since the last .hack game. It is just crazy to even think about, you know? And the fact that we're getting a series reboot of .hack, you know, set in, I think they said, like, what was it, 10 years from now? So it's set in 2036. So it's just, I'm racking my brain as to what we're going to get. At best, I hope we can have a demo for, speaking of demos, I actually decided to play the demo of Trails of the Sky Chapter 1 Remake. I'm having fun, good time with it so far. I want to try Trails of the Sky Remake. I have played a little bit of the PSP version. I had myself a good time with it, but I think like the remake just overhauls everything with a new system. It's definitely something I want to keep my eye on. I don't have fun for it yet, but that's another thing that's on my playlist. And like in accordance to like .hack Zero, I'm trying to think. I'm thinking like this might. I'm hoping it's a $60 release. You know, it would be great if it was 50, but like I'm probably assuming that it's going to be a $60 release with some bonus additions to it. And you know I'm going to get like the deluxe or ultimate editions for this. And if I'm correct, Chapter 2 will be around the corner next year. Yes. Okay, so maybe it's the time for us to pick up Trails of the Sky as well, so that way to be... Man, there's so many games coming out, like in this later half of this year. Oh, excuse me, next year. Oh, you said next year. Oh, but still, you know, within the next year or so. We got a lot of games coming out within the following year. I'm just wondering, because I've been playing a lot of Slay the Spire 2, which came out, I want to say, like a month ago. Very good game. I know a lot of people were disappointed in it for one reason or another. I think it's kind of dumb. Don't get me wrong, the person behind that controversy is very infamous within the gaming space, but the game was fine before people knew about Slay the Spire 2. Why is her inclusion like a problem now? The game is still the same game, and you know, it'd be one thing if it was like a completely ruined experience, a terrible game, but you know, Slay the Spire 2 is a great little game. You know, I'm enjoying my time with it. I've gone through each and every one of the characters, and I'm on Ascension 3 with all of them now, which is kind of like a harder difficulty modifier. Yeah, also Resident Evil 9 got its update here, like I want to say within the last couple of days, where it's like a small little like mode where it's kind of like a roguelike where you collect abilities, you try to beat the clock and race to the end where you fight the final boss. You know, a quick little mode, and it's a free update. So yeah, it was a very nice addition and a very welcomed one. I think as gamers, we're definitely having some good stuff coming out. Like, there's not too many stinkers from what I can recall. Like, there are some pretty good games in all aspects of gaming, from PC to Nintendo, you know, to PlayStation. I did hear that the Souls games, like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, might be getting a remake, and if that happens, oh, you know I'm gonna be buying that. I missed out on Demon Souls because I didn't have a PS5, but if, you know, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 are gonna be remade, hopefully they come to PC. Nioh 3 is out right now, so I am content. I have played the first one. I heard the second one was pretty good, and I know some people are really enjoying the third one. I did play another like Nioh-esque game made by the same team, Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy. Such a fantastic game by Team Ninja. Like, I am having a really good time with that game, and I'm a sucker for job systems. Or, excuse me, yeah, job systems. I think that's another thing about what's missing in gaming. There's no special modes. Remember the special moves they allowed you to play as the modes where you play as the villain in the story? Yes, I remember. Like, that happened, like, not very often in older games, but when you did, it made you feel awesome. Like, one example I can think of is Lord of the Rings: The Third Age for the PS2. A pretty good game, though it's a very flawed game. They had this mode called Evil Mode, where you could play as the villains and enemies of the Lord of the Rings, trying to defeat the party that you went through the adventure with. And that, I miss it when games add things like that. Just fun little side things that you actually got rewarded for. But, like, going back to that example, once you complete certain sections, you remember Lord of the Rings: The Third Age? Oh, that's so good. So you know that, like, Evil Mode, when you completed Evil Mode, you got bonuses that you could transfer to your well, pretty much any game save. Like, you can do the final Evil Mode things and load up a new playthrough and get a whole bunch of cool stuff. Like, so so many overpowered things for the early game. I miss it when games did that. Just small modes that rewarded you for just interacting with it, you know? I want to see more evil mode in games. Like, whew. I'm trying to think, like, what other modes? Yeah, it felt great to smoke Barathor and friends, yes. Like, I know the story was not that great, but the gameplay of it really held up for me. And I did like the idea of using your skills to potentially learn more skills later on. You know, like, it makes sense, you know, the more you use a certain type of skill, the more, you know, proficiency you get in it, you know? And I think it was a very unique system for the time. And the company who made Lord of the Rings The Third Age for the PS2 also went to make Dead Space. Yes, the original Dead Space visual games. Which that, honestly, you can kind of see with the character models as, you know, like, the models of the Lord of the Rings game, that Lord of the Rings game, were just so good. You know, like, for a moment, I didn't really recognize the character style, but I can't believe visual games actually made that. In some cases, Fire Emblem, if you beat the games enough, sometimes you actually unlock new units. Exactly! And, like, older Fire Emblem games, like, I know Fire Emblem, I think it's like Fire Emblem 8, where there's, like, multiple paths that you can go through, just kind of, like, do multiple playthroughs with different units. Like, they had, like, the tower, which you can ascend to get, like, much better gear or experience outside of the story. It was one of those things where it was extra content, and I think that's what's missing. Just, like, small content that doesn't really, like, it's just extra stuff for us to do that is worth our time, you know? It was just some good stuff. Excuse me. But yeah, just like, I miss it when game companies actually added extra modes, and which is why when I saw Resident Evil 9's Leon Must Die mode, it just filled me with so excitement, because I already completed 9 a couple of times, one on hard and one on in insanity mode, and just to get that extra like extra time out of the game with this new mode, it was so much fun. Challenge: can you get to 50 only using items? The problem with that is that, one, using only items. Well, you would have to actually find the... Well, first of all, you needed money to buy the scrolls. Like, the individual spell scrolls to be able to, you know, deal damage. Second off, you know, you only get... I would imagine it would be easier in the late game. Like, I would say, if you're using just items, then like, are you talking like a playthrough like this, where it's like, you know, first dungeon and such, then I would say it's pretty impossible. But if you're talking like, through the entire playthrough, that you go from 1 to 50, you know, just playing the game normally, but with items, then I would say yes. I would say it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable, McCoy. I mean, I'm very grateful that they gave you New Game Plus. I feel like the only way that you get enjoyment out of games now is if you do a challenge run of some sort. I mean, which is fine. I mean, games don't necessarily have to last forever. They just need to be worth, like, what you're paying for. Especially now that games are reaching, like, 70, 80 bucks in some cases. You know, I just want my money to feel like I've spent it in a good place. Like, the game looks good, like whether or not a game looks good, it plays well, there's no bugs or glitches or anything that's gonna take me out of the experience. Like, if the game is solid enough where I feel I can get my $70 worth, then that's all I can ask for. And I feel like a lot of games now actually do give you a lot of bang for your buck. Like, for example, Expedition 33, like, the last year's Game of the Year winner, $50 for what I can amount to maybe 60 hours between 2 playthroughs. Fantastic game, and the devs actually gave, like, an additional area just as a way to thank the community for buying their game. I want to see more of that, just kind of like small appreciations for excuse me, for interacting with the game. Some cool, like, Easter eggs and secrets. Like, I feel like we're coming back to that age where game companies are now, like, trying new things and also bringing back some older game development techniques and, like, philosophies. And, like, I think we've gone past the time where we're just trying to make everything look as good as possible. I think we've plateaued on the idea that, I think the idea that we need everything to look hyper-realistic, I think we're long past that, and in place of stylized games, and just kind of like making a good experience for the players. Which I'm really happy for, you know. Granted, I do like good-looking games, but I also want a good game, not a movie, you know? It's just, like, games these days, I think the gaming industry is healing in a lot of ways. You know, there's a lot of good games coming out. And I love how they actually make finale chapters in games feel much more flexible, allowing you to experiment a little bit before acting before the final boss. Yes, exactly, Jay. Like, again, I'm going to go back to Expedition 33. No spoilers for what I'm about to say, but you do, like, before you go to the final boss, you could just do all of the side content, secret bosses, get super powerful, and just steamroll the final boss. Which I think that is a good thing, because if you wanted just to go through the story, you could just go directly to the final boss, but you are also given the option to just go and enjoy the side content. You know, like, roam free the entire map, which is pretty big anyway. I find a game enjoyable if it's made by people that genuinely love the game and if it respects the source material that it's taken from an IP. A game has no soul if it's made by someone who hates games. Exactly, and I think, like, we're seeing more passion-driven games now than we have in the last, maybe a decade, I would say. Yes, there are still a lot of remakes and remasters, which are all fine for preservation's sake, but I do think, like, some of the newer games, we are seeing a lot of passion coming from them. Like, Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is a good example. Larian Studios are very passionate about role-playing games and got the opportunity to make a really good Dungeons & Dragons game that I've sank almost 400 hours into, which it's crazy to me. Like, it's such a good game that I'm just, like, when you see a company respect its community as well as Larian does, you know that a game is going to be, like, an all-time classic, all years down the line. And, like, I think, like, things like that is all, games like Baldur's Gate 3 are going to last a lot longer than your yearly releases of Madden or, like, Call of Duty, you know? And I can't really say to the quality of those games, but I have heard over the years that, like, the sports games are just, they just exist. They've had their own share of problems, you know, especially coming from EA. But, you know, it's just, like, outside of those type of games, I think, like, the games that are made with passion, like you said, McCoy, are the ones that are gonna last a long while. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what the rest of this year has in store. Maybe there might be some surprises around the corner. You know, maybe there is, like, a release that is so anticipated that people are just kind of, like a shadow drop to release or something. Because we do see, like, a lot of these older IPs get reintroduced, so who's to say that we might see another IP? I'm still hoping for Jak and Daxter, you know? I'm kind of coping on that now. I don't think we're going to get a Jak and Daxter remaster, especially since the pitch for the remaster got shut down for some reason. You know, I don't remember the context behind that, but there's an animation on YouTube from the company that wanted to pitch the idea of a Jak and Daxter remake. There's a little bit of, you know, weirdness with it, but the idea, it looks like the concept cutscene, it looks so good, and it really does fit the game really well. It's kind of on the same vein as the the Spyro Reignite trilogy or the Insane trilogy for Crash Bandicoot. It's kind of like that kind of quality. And like, I want to see, like, in terms of like older games, I want to see like these older IPs get preserved, and not just the popular ones. I want to see some older IPs come back that either never had an opportunity to reach a large audience, either due to their platform or due to certain limitations. I want to see like some older things take a chance, because out of all the games that are out right now, I think, what is it, like 82% are not available or something ridiculous like that. Like, a lot of it's just kind of lost media. It's just crazy to me that there are so many games that are just lost, you know? Speaking of the Madden games, there was an urban legend that if you set the current game to the highest difficulty in real-life teams of the Super Bowl, and have the CPU play itself, the winner would be the same. Same in real life. Honestly, I believe it. I believe it. And if this program were to exist, I would already give it a name. Project Revised. Yes. Yes, Project Revised. That is a good name for the project. I think... Let's see. Like, I'm trying to think of like some other games, like older games, that never really had too many opportunities to be revived. Because, hey, think of it this way. If .hack 0 can exist, then any game franchise is possible. You know? Like, a lot of us .hack fans didn't think we were getting a .hack game in the year of our Lord 2026. But lo and behold, we have a new .hack game. So, what other IP could they do? I wonder. Well, not specifically them, but just kind of like any publisher or game developer, whatever, you know? Like, again, I want to see some older games get recognition. Like, it's very safe to release games that have already sold millions upon millions of copies back in its time. It's another to take a small risk on some older, like, other titles that didn't get the light of day. Like, I want to see Konami release a PS2 collection where it's Duels of Roses and Capsule Monster Coliseum. Add in online features with that, then people will go nuts. Because, you know, Duels of Roses alone is such a great game with a unique battle system for its, like, kind of like chess-like game. Like, having online features for something like that, I think would go a long way and kind of reviving interest in Yu-Gi-Oh! And let me tell you, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is another rabbit hole of emotion for me, because I used to be a competitive player, like, a long time ago. I had to stop because of, one, because the game was just getting too expensive, and two, the game itself just stopped being fun competitive, you know? I don't know if it was because I was just getting older and like, interest kind of changed, but, you know, just hopping back to it every now and then, like, ugh. Don't get me wrong, I still like Yu-Gi-Oh! I would play some of like the older games, and I might come back to Master Duel every now and then, but the game has just gotten too much. Power creep is just way just I'm speechless. It's just that bad, you know? And I know there's going to be some people saying, oh yeah, modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not that bad, you know, but you take a look at some of the, I'm not even talking like just like the super competitive games, but the, like, even just some casual matches, it's usually comes down to how can I keep my opponent from playing the game, turn one. And that's more or less it. Yeah, the PS2 had some amazing games that haven't been remastered on current platforms. My favorite was Rogue Galaxy. I have heard great things about Rogue Galaxy, and I just haven't actually got it yet. That is another one of my wish lists to try to pick up. It's probably super expensive now because of its popularity, but, you know, like that is one of the games that needs to be remastered. Like, just sometime soon, you know? Or ported for that matter. Just, you know, we were accepting emulated ports, you know? As long as we're able to play it on modern systems. Excuse me. I'm trying to think like what other games. I do want to see. I know I talked about this earlier this stream, but I want to see the Castlevania PS2 games come to modern systems. Like Castlevania: Curse of Darkness, especially would work well, like with a lot of modern people who have interest in the series, especially now that Castlevania is getting a new game after so long. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links is more forgiving than Master Duel, yeah, but it's more or less the same thing. You're just like, it is still Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's usually more, I guess, it's trying to be more like the anime, where you've got like less spaces to work with, along with a character ability that can help you cheat your way. I say cheat, but just kind of like to help you cheat even further for victory, you know? But yeah, I kind of had to stop playing Duel Links because it just also got too much. Like, I've seen some good things come out of the Yu-Gi-Oh community though. Like there are some people within that community that are doing some pretty wonderful things. I saw a video recently. If I knew the guy's name, I probably would like just give him a shout out or something. But there's a guy that is actually going to making a Yu-Gi-Oh game in VR. It's the entire it's a fully made Yu-Gi-Oh game with all the cards from the first era of Yu-Gi-Oh, but every monster that is there is going to be custom. It's going to have some custom models. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have seen that. Like, I think Moist Critical actually made a video on it. So. But basically, yeah, there's this guy that's making a VR Yu-Gi-Oh game that is, like, you can customize your avatar, you know, go around, you know, doing challenges, you know, just dueling people in the streets and whatnot. Like, it looks really good, you know, and, like, that's something, like, if I were into VR, that would be something that, you know, I'd be excited for. Let's see, and that's another thing, too. Like, I do want to see, like, more fan projects. Like, when something gets released from modern platforms, like especially older games, the modding communities of those games really do have a much easier time to build more content for them. Well, yeah, they do help you cheat. If you use it correctly, you don't, then it can screw you up bad. Screw you up bad. So it's a coin toss of whether the cheat actually helps. True. I don't know how it is now because I played it when it first started. I think once they started getting into the synchro era, like the synchro cards, I kind of like stopped playing it. But yeah, like, yeah, it's a coin toss. Like, in some cases, it's a little coin toss. But yeah, like the older Yu-Gi-Oh games, like I specifically like the ones where they tried new things, like Dungeon Dice Monsters, Capsule Monster Coliseum, Duelist of Roses. Like, I've done Duelist of Roses content on this channel a couple of times in the past using the Redux mod, which makes it, like, the game much more difficult, but in my opinion, probably the best way to play it. Because, like, don't get me wrong, the base game is fine, like, but it's just too easy and you really don't get to benefit from all the systems that are in place there, you know? So, with the Redux mod, it makes everything harder. You know, you gain ranks a lot faster, and you get to try out cards that you probably wouldn't normally use, you know? And with every stage being, you know, entirely remade, you know, it keeps things interesting. And that's what I want to see, like, with a lot of these older games. I want to see some new stuff, like a new vision from the fans who enjoy these games. Because I think, let's see. Oh, there was also a Curse of Darkness mod that I wanted to try out, but never really had too much opportunity to look into it. Like, it's supposed to, like, rework a lot of the things. Ooh, excuse me. Rework a lot of the mechanics of Curse of Darkness. Ooh, whoa. I'm trying to think, like, what other games would benefit from, like, a remaster or port. Like, I can't think of anything else on top of my head, but that's because my mind's kind of running blank at the moment. The way you describe it, kind of reminds me of what they did with Fire Emblem for the 3DS. They made one version that was made for casuals and one version that was made for veterans. Yeah, something similar to that. Like Duel Links was made with a casual audience in mind for those who kind of like watched the various eras of the anime, whereas Master Duel was their dueling simulator, you know, for like competitive play. Synchron summons is where I stopped, but I'm fairly okay with XE summons. Ask me about pendulums and I'm gonna think you speak Latin to me. I'm good with synchros too. For me, synchros and XEs are fine. I think they're pretty simple mechanics that anyone can get into. It's when you get into the pendulums and Link eras, I think that's when Yu-Gi-Oh! Started to go downhill. Because that is when everything just got way too fast, they changed so many rules, and even Master Rule 5, Master Rule 5 has been implemented for like over a decade. There has not been a major change to the rules, which honestly it's long overdue. And one of my main gripes of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that there are way too many special summons. Like, I'm gonna sound like a Yu-Gi boomer when I say this, but back in my day, like special summons were special occurring summons where you had to actually like find a way to get them on the field, like through like not arbitrary ways, but just kind of have to work around and like put effort into trying to summon like these things. But now everything special summons one way or another, and you get tons of bonuses for when you do. And like normal summons are, it's weird because normal summons are limited to 1 per turn, but special summons have no limit. Like that's just crazy to me. You know, that you can special summon 100 times in a duel, and there's just no limit outside of like just the cards themselves and just how many you can activate, you know, based off of like, I guess, certain conditions. But still, it's just crazy to me that special summons have not been touched at all in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that if there was some kind of like upper cap of special summons, maybe 5 or 10, yes, people would get mad that they can't special summon spam all the time, but I think it would slow the game down enough to where people actually have to think about their plays, you know, instead of just trying to stack up the field with 5 negates, 2 floodgates, a partridge in a pear tree, and a snow cone. You know, it's just like, and like I said, I know I'm kind of downplaying Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot here. I love the game, right? Like, I love the card game. I still have some of my competitive decks here somewhere. It has just gotten too much, you know? And, like, even some members of the community. Now, this doesn't apply to everyone. I think, like, some of the best players that I've interacted with were the ones that don't do all that well. The lower table players. Very down-to-earth people. But when you get to the upper tables, people are just hyper-focused, hyper-serious, shuffling their hand as if I'm going to take the card right from their hand or something. You know, very fidgety, very, you know, like, reactive, as it were. And for higher level monsters, you have to sacrifice a monster, 3 of them, unless you have a special card that makes you bypass that. Yeah, but even then, Yu-Gi-Oh! Now has cards that, like, hey, you can have a level 8 monster. Oh, I get to special summon this from my hand, and I get to add a card from the deck to the hand. And if you activate a card, I get to benefit off of your card. Just, like, there's just so many effects. A good example of that is the Cash Tier monsters. Like I think it's like Fenrir or something like that. Like, Fenrir special summons from the hand. Then you get to search a card, I think it's like a spell or trap, from your deck to the hand. And then, if your opponent activates a monster effect, you get to banish it face down. And just, like, so many benefits. And banishing face down, it's like you can't use it anymore. Because there's no way to interact with face down banished cards. I mean, there might be a way, but it's few and far between. So one card has 3 to 4 different effects. Just what's Yu-Gi-Oh! Going to look like 5 years down the line? Is it going to be like Endymion Master of Magic, where you have a whole thesis of how the card works that you actually have to take minutes just to try to comprehend what effects are going to happen. And I know Endymion is just kind of like the easy pick, but come on. It's just crazy. Yeah, that's rank play for you. They treat you like it's in blue luck. But if they lose once, they get kicked. They're getting kicked out for life. Yeah, pretty much. I wonder if anyone has actually recreated the infinite combo genuinely. Yeah, I have seen a couple of infinite combos. They, like there are so many loops in Yu-Gi-Oh that still haven't been addressed. I remember when I was playing, my final days of competitive play. There was like a Red Eyes burn deck where they would just burn me for 400 infinitely because they had like a certain like feel like that they had. Alright guys, we are coming up on break, so why don't we go ahead and take ourselves a little bit of a rest. Get yourself a snack and a nice little drink, and we'll be right back after these messages. Alright guys, we are back with more of the level grinding. Now, while we're on our break, I did go and collect more chims, so that way we don't have to worry about chim farming on stream, so we got enough for the rest of this stream. So, let's go ahead and continue, shall we? And so, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just, like, there's just so, yeah, they're, to properly expand on your question, McCoy, yes, there are infinite combos still in Yu-Gi-Oh! They're few and far between, but I have seen it happen. Like, they might not be as prominent or even consistent, but they do still, in fact, exist. Like, especially since, like, there's just, like, what, 12,000 cards now? There's just so many combinations to work with, like, in Yu-Gi-Oh! That it's, like, but only maybe 2% of it is actually viable. Which, I mean, it's nice that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a way for you to just, like, hey, you have the opportunity to use any card that you wish out of the 12,000 for the most part. But with only 2%, like, I'm might be exaggerating or maybe underestimating it, but it could, like, just 2% of the total card pool is just it's viable. It's just crazy. You know, power creep is just such an insane thing. Like, when I was playing competitive back in 2012 to 2017, I mostly focused on the Lightsworn strategy, which was a good deck for its time, but it definitely lost its luster, like, back in the 2010s. Like, it was still used in a lot of engines, like Chaos Dragons, but you really didn't see too many pure variants because the power creep was you know, that bad at the time. And well, I kind of started my dueling, competitive dueling back in the Dragon Ruler format, and for those of you who are not versed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, history, Dragon Rulers were when, like, things really got crazy with special summons and just kind of, like, introduced Yu-Gi-Oh! 2, as some people would call it, where like, games just got progressively faster. There were more monsters that special summoned themselves or others, like, just so that way they could fulfill the requirements of the newer mechanics, as it were. And there's just like, it's just like, yeah, I kind of started at a bad place in the Yu-Gi-Oh! History. I stopped in 2017, which I think that was when Zodiac was either, like, just beginning to be nerfed or just kind of like the tail end of the Zodiac arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! But, and I have played in some tournaments afterwards. Like, I stopped going to regionals and just kind of focused more on individual stores. It's just kind of like, it just became not fun, you know? Which kind of sucks because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a fun game. Like, there is a fun game to be had, but it's just like, I wouldn't recommend anyone going and doing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! anymore. Like, not unless there's, like, a major change with the game, like, to really make it, like, really slow things down. And, like, I think that's one of the new problems with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that it just has a new player problem. Yeah, like, you got some, like, veterans of the series and some expert, you know, card players, but, like, for new people coming in, like, just, like, how are you going to invite people into the game where everything is just so complicated? Even, like, Master Duel's quote-unquote tutorial is just, like, the bare bones basic stuff, you know, introducing the game too, you know? It's, like, it just gets so crazy. So, I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And kind of focused more on, like, other games and other things. Kind of went on an MMO kick for a while. I really wanted to play Final Fantasy XIV again, but, you know, currently, yeah, it's a bit expensive to keep the sub up. And I still need to finish Shadowbringers because there is a new 14 expansion that actually... You know what that happened. There's a new 14 expansion that looks interesting enough. And now that Final Fantasy 14 is coming to the Switch too, there's going to be an influx of players, you know, playing 14 too. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see, what else? I mean, in terms of like Final Fantasy 14, my favorite classes to play as in that game, like in terms of like each category, DPS, healing, and tank. That's the word I was looking for. I mean, I think it was called the Warrior. Like the Warrior was probably one of my favorite tanking classes, as you know, just because it dealt with just kind of like quick recovery of your own HP while also like doing a pretty decent amount of damage for a tank. And then you got the Summoner, which was my favorite DPS class. You know, it's a pretty easy class to play as a simple rotation, but deals a pretty good amount of damage at a longer range too. Let's see what else. I guess for the healing class, don't really play healers all too often, but Y Mage, you know, caught my interest. Actually, now I'm thinking about getting Final Fantasy 14 again. Like maybe I'll see if I have an additional five or $10, whatever it is now, and then you know, maybe go back into the world of Final Fantasy 14. We shall see, though. We shall certainly see. And boop. 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 And a boop. Alright, we're almost halfway to level 40. Which is pretty good because we are making some pretty decent progress here. Because after tonight, we're going to be sub 10,000 experience. Which, that's crazy to me. That we're almost there. We're 11 levels away. 10 levels after tonight. Which, we're in the final stretches, like the major countdown. I really want to figure out how I want to do this countdown, because, you know, we've already, as you see from the screen above, we're already 9 hours in, and we've already gone through so much. Like, we're in the final 10 levels, so the bare minimum, there's going to be like 9 or 10 streams. I'm hoping to cut it down to 8, like maybe really push the grind, maybe I'll dedicate a couple of days to grinding out this for the birthday week streams, which will be in July. And, you know, probably just kind of go from there. But, you know, 3,000 battles left. 10,000. Like, we're going to get less than... We're going to get less than, blah, blah, blah. I can't even think. Yeah, we're going to get less than 10,000 by the end of this stream. So, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think we're going to start promoting the final push. Like, once we start hitting maybe level 45, and just kind of like make it a big thing. Hey, you know, we're going to do 2 levels here, 2 levels there, and then, you know, we'll do a final push. So maybe after tonight, it would be 5, 6, 7. It's like 8 streams at least. You know, for like after tonight, like 8 streams of this, which we're getting pretty close to done. I know these haven't been the most like entertaining of like gameplay wise, but I do appreciate those who come in and, you know, just kind of give a little chit chat while we do this. You know, it definitely keeps my mind busy. Definitely keeps the streams interesting with the various topics and thoughts that you have, you know, for me. And then, so next week I do know we're going to be doing Dawnbound again. Like, everyone is going to be available at that time. And we're finally going to get into, like, the Temple of Herakti section of this game where I've designed an entire dungeon for these guys to go through, like a proper dungeon. Like a lot of what's been happening right now has been mostly caves. It's funny that the first two quote-unquote dungeons that they've done were caves, but now this is an actual dungeon, you know, dungeon proper, with puzzles and just kind of like maybe some hidden treasure. Ooh, that was a triple kill. That was nice. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to traumatizing my D&D party with this upcoming dungeon. I mean, hopefully none of my party members are listening in right now, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. So next week, next Saturday at around 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, we've got Dawnbound episode, I think like 33, something like that. Yeah, and it's 33 episodes already. This has already been really good. Like I'm really enjoying Dawnbound, and I know my players enjoy it too. Dun, 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 dun. Whew. That's good, guys. So sorry. Turn around. There we go. Gotta get more tea. Bloop. There we go. Dun 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 bum bum ba da bum. Bum 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 bum. Alright, yeah, we're a little over halfway there now. Just need less than 480 experience. Dun dun dun. Boom 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 boom. Bloop. Dun dun dun. Wah wah. Wah 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 wah. Dun 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 dun. Save me, folks. Ah, man, this tea's probably putting me to sleep. Which I hope not. Do. Bum 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 bum. Ba-ra-da-da-da-da. It's a good thing I got all these return feathers ahead of time. Boom. Womp. Whew, I need to fix my posture. My posture is pretty terrible. Bloop. Bloop, bloop. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Don't fall asleep now, Claude. You need to finish this. You can't go to bed just yet. Yeah, you gotta finish this level. Because we're getting so close. Dun, 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 ba-da-bum, ba-ba-da-bum. Boop. Boop, and a boop. I hopefully have enough chims for this. I might have to do another chim run here come the next break. Because I don't think we're going to get to 1,000 experience by the time the next break comes around. We're going to be getting close to it, but I don't think we're going to hit that 1,000 marker before the 2-hour mark. So this stream will go on just a little bit longer than normal. But at the very least, we are committed We're already this far. We cannot give up. We will never give up on this challenge. And I'm just kind of thinking, like, if we do this again for volumes 2 and 3, it's definitely going to be a lot easier. Like, with the speed boosting items and everything. Da-da-da. Bloop. Bloop, bloop. Da-da-da. Whoa, 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 whoa. See that? Ah, nice. I'll tell you what, guys. If you ever have an opportunity, Yorkshire Gold, some of the best tea you ever drink. You know, me personally. No, not sponsored, by the way, but, you know, though, Yorkshire, I mean, if you want, we can make it happen. But yeah, it's some really good tea, you know. Da da da. Ba da 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 da. Whoa, whoa. Poke, yeah, the poke. Nice. 569. Pretty nice. Very, very nice. Bloop. Ooh. Everything's fine. Alright, yep, everything's looking fine on both YouTube and Twitch. Alright, so I'm trying to think of the stream schedule for this week. So Monday we've got Kingdom Hearts. Wednesday we've got Volume 3 for Dot Hack iMock. So that's gonna be Outbreak. And then Free Stream Friday, and then Dawnbound at Saturday. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the layout for this. As for videos, I do have a special video I'm going to work on once we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that's going to be fun. So I got something big for that, but I'm probably posting a community post about like what other videos you guys want to see coming up. Because there's so many things that we can do. Like there's not really much to talk about in terms of zero news. Like as far as we know, I can't even speak. Like, there hasn't been any zero news here as of late, so I can't really make another video on that just yet. But, I'm trying to think. I already released a very short guide for Fragments, so there's that. Trying to think, like, what would you guys like to see for Dot Hack content? I can do more Terminus videos, you know, kind of like do the whole lore bit. I will have to keep my footage once again, but other than that, let's see what else. I really don't know. I don't know. I know we're doing something. We definitely be doing something, that's for sure. Oh. Hey, we got another tornado. We can always sell that later. Don't fall asleep now, God. You got to stay awake. Woo. Yeah, I think this tea is actually putting me to sleep more than it's actually keeping me awake. Well, I mean, it's not warm anymore, so that could be it. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? Oh, gotta do the stretching. You got. Gotta stay awake. It's also pretty late where I'm at too, so I'll definitely be heading to bed after this. 602. Whew. Okay. No more yawning. You're gonna get. Ah! Yawning is contagious. Now everyone is yawning. Yeah. So I hope everyone is having a good night. I hope everyone is doing well. Like those currently in chat or just listening in. Along with anyone in the future right now. I hope the future is going pretty well for you all over there. Yeah. Excuse me. Hey, we got a firestorm. We can always use more of those. Oh god, I'm starting to sound like the swords now. Oh man, it's no wonder. Like, these swords are just tired of us defeating them all the time. I am curious. I know, man, I probably say this almost every single stream, but I am curious as to how many total battles all this is going to be by the time we're done. If I had to guess, I think it would be closer to the 10,000s, which I think would be crazy. Hey, another healing. Hey, Drake. Yeah, stop that clock. Stop the yawning. Whew. Whoa. I cannot stop yawning. I can't stop yawning. I didn't even do anything today. Why am I yawning? I shouldn't be yawning this much. Yeah, when we get to our next break, I'll probably have to like move around. Just kind of get my energy up. Yeah, do all the good stuff. because we do have enough chims for at least 14 more dungeon runs. We're definitely probably going to need more chims in between, so I'll get up, do some stretches, get myself awake, and just all that good stuff. I really don't have anything that will keep me awake. Yeah, but that's okay. Like, we are determined to conclude this. Bloop, and bloop. And I think that was another firestorm or a tornado. It was something. It was a snowstorm. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ding. Whoop. Get the stretching done. And bloop. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. I've had a lot of Dragon Ball Z in the line lately. Been listening to a lot of the older Dragon Ball Z soundtracks. Perfect Cell's theme, then you got Vegeta's Final Flash, you know, Gohan's Anger. Like, I've been in a Dragon Ball Z kick here as of late. I really need to go back and play some more Kakarot, or at least like start over from the beginning. I wonder if it's on sale on Steam. Yeah, probably while I'm on my break, I'll go ahead and, you know, check to see if it's on Steam. Well, I mean, I know it's on Steam, but just on discount on Steam. Womp. More fire swords. 662. Doing pretty good. Excuse you, wow. Excuse me. I know, I'm a very professional guy here. A very professional streamer. Alright. Drink. Ooh. Oh boy. Oh, come on, I wanted to sneak attack. Out there. Hey, you know, the firestorm. We can always use more of those. So we got enough for 11 dungeon runs, and I definitely need to get more chims in between. This is definitely not going to last us until we get our level up. And we got a bloop and a bloop. Womp 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 womp. Womp womp. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Oh, womp. Oof. Okay. Okie dokie. Orke dokie. So many goblins. This will be quick. You were right about that, Haseo. These battles are indeed quick. As if they only last a few seconds. Bloop. Bloop. Hey, more health drinks. Nice. Brum 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 brum. How did that go? Went something. It went slow. Da 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 da, bra da 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 bra da Actually, no, I already did that. Run out breath. Gotta stretch the legs. We're getting so close to level 40. Ooh. I'll tell you what, guys. Like, this has been an incredible challenge to undertake. It's probably the most, it's not difficult. It's more tedious. It's probably the most tedious challenge I have ever done for the channel. But boy, let me tell you. Honestly, I feel pretty accomplished doing this. I know it's not exactly, you know, the most difficult of things, but, you know, I'm certainly proud that I'm able to do this, at least to the best of my ability. Whether or not I do this for volumes 2 and 3, it's up in the air. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I mean, that goes entirely whether or not you guys want to see more of these. Like, while I do think volumes 2 and 3 are probably going to be a bit easier with the speed boosts and everything, and having access to more weapons instead of just the twin blades all the time. I would say that's the one thing I'm looking forward to if we end up doing this for volumes 2 and 3. It's being able to use the great sword, or if we're lucky enough, get to use the scythe. Honestly, I think the scythe would be a massive help with this. One swipe with the scythe, boom, all the enemies gone. You know. And I hardly doubt we'll be able to get the dual guns for volume 3. The dual guns probably would help out a ton if we were to get that far without gaining experience, but that's impossible. Or at least from my initial perception. I mean, from what I've asked the community earlier, we are allowed one, like if we get to volume 2 and do this again, that we are allowed 1 level grace period to get as far as we can, you know, and we cannot exceed. That's the challenge. But that would start like as soon as we hit level 52, you know, and then just kind of go from there. But that's assuming that we no, not 52, 51, because technically you can get what was it? You can get 999 experience in this volume, and then once you hit level 100, that's when you get to the level, you know, that's when the level cap hits. Cap hits. It is a cap of the levels per volume, yes, so but volume 1 is up to level 50, volume 2 is up to 100, and then volume 3 is up to 150. So in this volume, we can't exceed level 50. So, like, if we can keep our level low enough, I mean, I'm sure we'll be able to do that because, you know, going through this game level 50, it would be pretty easy to get through, you know? As you can see, we're already one-shotting these level 1 enemies, and that's probably going to be the same when we actually do the playthrough proper with, you know, this level 50 Haseo. Dun dun dun. So, it's definitely going to be funny, like, going through this entire thing as level 50. I know that there is cheat mode, but where's the fun in that? Why cheat when we can earn the experience ourselves? Why we could spend 70 hours getting to level 50 in one dungeon, you know? Well, why use cheat mode? That cheat mode is just too easy. We're doing this the challenging way. We are putting self-imposed challenges on ourselves all the time in this community. Besides, I think we're doing pretty good. Look, we're almost at level 40. We've got, like, what? Less than 200, yeah, like 230 more experience left, so let's see, divide. So I think we're getting about 18 or so experience per level. You know, I actually gotta count. So six experience up here, and then where am I going? I'm going this way. So 6 experience up here, and then the floor 2 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is 15, so 21 experience per run. So probably 11 or so, like 11 or 12 dungeon runs. And then pretty much good for the challenge for tonight. And then we got the final stretch, the final 10 levels. Not sure what I'm going to do for the final 10 levels. I think what I'm going to do for each Saturday moving forward outside of the Dawnbound games, we'll be doing one level like this up until we get to the last couple of levels, where I'll probably end up doing like one big special stream, like one big final push to get the final 2 levels, and then just kind of go from there. Because I think that would be a kind of fun event, like get everyone together, you know, we kind of like talk about this and that, you know, just kind of talk about the series, you know, just kind of like celebrate when we actually do get to that level 50 marker, you know. And I'll probably end up making a community post as well as a notice on Discord at some point, like about like our milestone progression here. Because honestly, I didn't think I was going to get this far. Like, I mean, not just with this challenge, but level 50, what I'm saying. 1,000 subscribers. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm pretty excited. Like, just, like, it's just, like, everything is just kind of going at a pace that I was not expecting, you know? I mean, in a good way. It's in a good way. Like, I do appreciate everything that you guys have been helping out with over the last, like, 5 or so years that I've been doing this. And 1,000 subscribers is a pretty big milestone, I would say. And like, I think like the next major video I'm going to do will go over why I like Dot Hack as much as I do, and like in comparison to one of my favorite games of all time, and kind of like the similarities that I have between the two games. I won't say what it is right now because I don't want to spoil it, but these two games, like Dot Hack GU and this other game that I'm going to be not making a comparison to, but just kind of explaining why I think like why I like character progression stories, you know, and grow appreciative of that, is that I think that's going to be my like 1,000 subscriber special video. Like just going over like why GU I guess matters to me, because I've already done why .hack resonates with like the community. Hey Jesus, how's it going? Do you like the volume 1, 2, or 3? I do like, yes, I do like the first 3 volumes of GU. Yes, I don't mind volume 4 but I would say I wouldn't go back to volume 4, mostly because 1, the story was pretty much already complete with, you know, 1, 2, and 3. Not to mention, like, volume 4, it's fine for one-time playthrough, but it is definitely, it's definitely not, here's the thing, volume 4 is something. I mean, there are some cool things, like, within volume 4, it's a very short volume. Like, it's, like, you could probably beat it within a few hours, but I would say, yes, like, if you were to buy this game, Jesus, then, you will, end up, I think you'll end up liking this, you know. Like, this came out initially in 2006, like, and I know, like, you're probably watching this gameplay right now. It probably doesn't look anything too special, but, like, the best thing about 1, 2, and 3 for, like, this set of games in particular is the character development. This has probably one of the best examples of character development that I have seen in a game in a long time. And, like, it is probably my gold standard as to, like, how to write characters. And just kind of, like, see, like, their progression and how they grow. And just kind of what makes people, you know? So, yes, I do like volumes 1, 2, and 3. If I had to order them from my favorite to least favorite, like, my absolute favorite is volume 2. Because so many things get revealed in that volume, there's so many revelations, and that's when the drama really picks up the story. And, like, especially with individual character arcs, like, you definitely end up seeing a lot of, like a lot of good character moments, I will say. I don't want to spoil it just in case you haven't played the games yet, but I will say that, you know, this, like, Volume 2 is probably my favorite of the bunch. Volume 3, like, is fine. You know, it definitely wraps up the story pretty well, but coming off of Volume 2, I mean, it was a bit lackluster. Don't get me wrong, I do like a lot of what Volume 3 has to offer, like the endgame comments. The endgame content, especially, is really, really good. You know, provided you do everything in the previous volumes. But I think, like, Volume 1 is that nice middle ground. Volume 1 establishes the story pretty well. Like, it ends up, like, this is a very slow-paced game. Like, Volume 1 is the setup. Volume 2 is when everything happens. Well, not everything happens, but pretty much, like, all the major story beats happen and just kind of collide. And the Volume 3 is, okay, this is happening. Where do we go from here, and how do we, you know, how do we stop this crisis from happening, you know? And so, I would say, if I had to give .hack GU, volumes 1, 2, and 3 a ranking, I would say it's a solid 7 out of 10. Like, maybe 7.5. You know? And, like, these are definitely some good games. Like, I would say, volume 2, what I'm saying. Keep saying volume 2. So, .hack GU has a pretty good story with some great character moments. I would say the only thing that's kind of bogging it down a little bit is maybe the gameplay, but that's mostly because, you know, like, there's just, like, you're slowly, like, over the 3 volumes, you're slowly unlocking things as you go along. And, like, it kind of gets simple. I don't know how to explain it, but, like, for the most part, you can kind of just press like I'm using the Xbox controller for this. So you're kind of pressing A to win with the occasional R button for rank deck. Oh nope, yeah. So I know I'm making it look easy because I'm doing max damage against these goblins, but like for the most part, at least as Haseo, mashing A, occasionally using R1 to trigger a skill trigger, and more or less it. Your other party members will kind of like fill in the gaps for like healing or like spell casting if you needed it. And it's a pretty simple game, but with the systems that are here currently, it gets the job done, you know? I think the big thing when it comes to this would have to be the keyword system. The keyword system is the big feature of these set of games. Like being able to just create any word combination you want and just kind of going through the areas, gathering your like multiple weapons that you might need, or probably finding a lucky animal to get your bonuses off of them. Like each area feels different. While it does, a lot of the area like layouts do overlap. Some you kind of don't notice it because it feels like an entirely new area you're going into, just under the same, I guess, theming or motif. You tend not to notice it too much. Like there's not too many repeat areas, let's say. Yeah, dungeons might be a little bit, you know, you might not have too much time, too much of a good time with dungeons, at least for the early portions of the Once you start getting to like volume, like middle to end of volume 2 and volume 3, you'll be able to, at the very least, you know, find some enjoyment out of the variety, because there are a good variety of dungeons and dungeon theming, but maybe later on you'll probably see some repeat dungeons. Or not, okay, I just kind of contradicted myself. So what I mean by that is that, theming, like right here, like the theming of this dungeon is a cave system. You know, like it's sort of like a mine, like with mine shafts and, you know, just kind of like big open areas, you know, in a cave system. Whereas others might be in a temple, some of them might end up being, just kind of like a forgotten ruins. You know, like there are some variety here, but you know, like dungeons in particular might come off as a little bit, you know, stale in some regard. I think what this game does best is its fields. Now, granted, the fields are like unlike in the previous games. They're not like open areas. They're more like smaller aisles that make up a area. But I think that kind of works for it because, you know, the open areas in IMOC, yeah, they were expansive, but there was hardly anything in it outside of like enemies and the occasional grunty food. Whereas this, like separating it into separate aisles, I mean, kind of like there's some enemies sprinkled about, kind of the same thing, but there's also trees. There's also PvP battles and the such. So, and if you really want to search for this enemy in the fields, you could also look for the doppelganger, which is probably one of the harder challenges this game has to offer, you know? Being able to fight against yourself and get a pretty cool weapon once you hit the later volumes. Dun dun dun. So yeah. So just, that's kind of my long-winded way of saying, yes, I do like volumes 1, 2, and 3. I do think it is definitely worth picking up if you haven't already. And I would say if you are going to buy this game, if you haven't already, I would say wait for a sale though. Like they are occasionally going on sale for about maybe $5 or $10 every now and then, and I think that's the perfect time to pick up Last Recode. All right. So guys, we do have ads coming up, so why don't we go ahead and take a break, get yourself a snack, a nice little drink, and we'll be right back after these messages. Okay, I am back once again. We are going to finish this. As soon as I can pull everything back up again. There we go. There you guys are. Here I am. Let's go ahead and continue. We need about like 130 experience, something like that. Ooh, excuse me, I am professional. I am very, very professional. Let's continue. Let's do this. Boop. Boop. 875. Okay, so we just need 125 experience left, and then we are good for tonight. We are dandy. We would reach that 40 number and less, and that sub 10,000 experience. Honestly, that's just crazy. That is so crazy that we're already sub 10,000, or at least close to it. Yeah, so a little under 3,300 battles or something like that by the end of the night. I mean, I don't know if I'm doing like the proper things right, but I mean, it looks right. I mean, 3,664 battles times 3 is over 10,000. Makes sense. Bloop. And like I said, I'll definitely be making some announcements about this challenge here real soon. It's kind of like showing, hey, my progress. Hey, we're level 40 now. We are getting there. 10 whole levels left. Yeah, so I'll probably end up doing like 1 level every other Saturday, with the final 2 levels being like for a celebration final push type of deal. And given how we're doing this, chances are I'll probably end up doing this until like my birthday week. I'll probably end up dedicating a couple of days to like grinding up this, because usually how I do things like for like these streams when it comes to like my July birthday, that, you know, like sometimes we take a day off, sometimes I get fortunate enough to take a week off, and I think I'm going to end up doing a week this year of streams. Like a couple days are probably going to be dedicated to this. Like, of course, we gotta have a final put. We gotta have the final 2 levels on my birthday. Well, not on my birthday, but just kind of like the birthday week, you know. And which will probably end up be like, I'll probably end up doing. Let's see. If I'm still doing, well, I mean, chances are I probably will still be doing this. But if I do this like during the week of July, then it would probably have to be a Tuesday and a Thursday right before my D&D games, because I'm going to be taking a week off in July for my birthday. So we'll probably put a couple of levels down for that, because I'm trying to think. So at the very least 9 more streams of this, give or take. Like, depending on how I feel. Like, if there's like, if a lot of people end up showing up for these kind of streams, I probably will push for another level. I don't normally do more than 1 level, at least not anymore. I tried to do 3 levels. Yeah, well, yeah, I could have pushed for 3. You know, like 2 was already almost like 5 hours. It got crazy, you know. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did 2 levels per stream, but I'll probably reserve for like the final 2 levels for the final stream of this. And I'm curious, are we going to get under 100 hours for this? I'm thinking we'll probably get at least over 100 hours before we're done, because it takes us 2 hours, or let's just say 2.5 hours for 1 level. And so for like 10 levels, that is about 20 hours, like, or 20. Well, I mean, maybe definitely over 20 hours, probably 25 hours. So, actually, now I think about it, it'll probably be under 100 hours. like give or take a few minutes. I want to say about 95 hours. I mean, we'll see like what the actual timing is there. Because I'm also using the in-game clock to determine... Oh no! Why does my controller hate me so? Anyway, so I'm also using the in-game timer to show like how long we've been doing this particular challenge on the save file. And let me tell you, switching this like save file to this new computer has been a Herculean task in its own right. I almost lost this file trying to get it from my old PC to my new PC because the cloud saves just don't work for this game for some reason or another. I think Bandai shut down the cloud servers for this game, which kind of sucks, so I had to manually bring over the save file and then do some shenaniganery with like the file location in order for it to work. I'm glad I was able to make it work because oh boy, 69 hours lost or 60-some hours lost. That would have crushed me, and it kind of did for a time. But luckily we managed to save the file, and we have, you know, you are very patient with this challenge. You know, that is true. I have been very patient with this challenge. I don't know what it is, because when it comes to something like this, I don't know. Like, I've always wanted to do something massive for the .hack community. I mean, I started doing .hack content to get the word about this game and the series out for people who have never actually played a .hack game before. And while this challenge is probably not a good representation of the game itself, it's a kind of like I do this because I think that the community and you guys, like you and like other people in the community, I think you guys would enjoy someone doing something like this where we're pushing for an impossibility. I mean, it's not impossible, but you know, point still stands, you know? Like, imagine like someone going through level 1 through 50 of this game in the first actual dungeon, just kind of like the hype around it. And just like new people see, okay, wait a minute, this guy's doing this kind of challenge. We've seen it with Kingdom Hearts, we've seen it with Final Fantasy. Someone's doing it with .hack. Wow, someone is actually doing this for .hack, and then more people get into the series. Our community grows, and we get a lot of nice people like finding interest in games that we love, you know. So I guess I'm patient with this because I know that like I know that, you know, we can get a lot of people into the series and just kind of like have a good time, you know? We talk about pretty much anything and everything, and, you know, well, you love the world. Yes. It's weird because I wasn't always a .hack fan, you know? I ended up playing this particular game, like the PS2 version, of course, back in high school. A buddy of mine actually told me about .hack, and his first introduction to .hack to me was, oh, you get to play someone playing a video game. Which, in my mind, that sounded a bit confusing. So you're playing as the player playing the video game. That kind of sounded like from an outsider looking in, that sounds like a terrible video game. But he ended up letting me his copy of Rebirth, and like it didn't click with me immediately. I enjoyed the game, but then years down the line, when I started to do YouTube and everything, I saw, like, Last Recode. I ended up playing it for the PS4, and I did find enjoyment again, but there was just something that just didn't click immediately with the series. But then, when I went back and played the older games, the predecessor to this, the IMOQ games, Affection, Mutation, Outbreak, and Quarantine, I found a much better appreciation for the series and what they were trying to do. And especially since this game came out in 2017 and updated a lot of it. Like, I still have my PS2 copy that I bought later on in life of this game. And let me tell you, the changes are night and day. And, like, because this game exists, like this version of the game exists, it kind of was the stepping stone to me falling in love with the world. And just kind of like in all of its idiosyncrasies, you know? Like from the individual characters to the environments. Makanu is still one of my favorite like base locations that have gone through pretty much all iterations of the world. And just kind of like the different like going back to the characters. Haseo is probably one of my favorite antagonists of the series because of the amount of growth that he does throughout these 3 games. I do like other characters like Gaspard, who is like, he's very much the like what the casual player, like only wanted to play the game because he thinks it's fun, you know, and my controller died on me. Oh no. There we go, let me try it again. There we go. And so yeah, just like all these characters and environments, and especially their growth, they just feel like real people in a lot of ways. Like what real people go through, the strife, the sadness, the joy, the hope. You know, it feels very much a reflection of our own world. Which, that's kind of funny to say given the MMO is called The World, you know? And I don't know, as a game, like, I would say these games don't do anything special when it comes to the combat-wise, but like they do, it's very strange to describe because most of this combat is just press A to win with occasional press and R. You know, maybe go into some menuing for some health items, but for the most part, mashing A to win. But it's how they go about it, you know? Where you can potentially stagger enemies enough to do like a big attack with your skill, or perhaps even buffing your allies with a item. Just like, I even did, like, early on in this YouTube channel, when I started doing the hack content, I did an entire playthrough where I had only the party members do the damage, and Haseo was the healer. And let me tell you, it's much more difficult when you are relegated to the healer and your party members are dealing the damage. It is possible. I did manage to complete it, but my god, it definitely changed my perception of the mechanics of this game and its AI, ironically enough. And so, and then that's kind of like when it snowballed. I also did, like, the Dot Hack a Bridge series. Like, I started the Dot Hack a Bridge series when I only had, like, 62 subscribers. I had no idea what I was getting myself into with that, and while I am still proud of what I did, there's a lot that I would wish I would go back and edit. Like, maybe one day I'll go back to GU Abridged and just kind of like redo it, and I am working on Roots Abridged episode 3. Like, I'm doing scene by scene from that, and eventually I might need some voice actors for it, which I'll definitely put out a casting call later on, but you know, I'm working on the Abridged series. I'm working on, like, I've even made a dot hack tabletop RPG from the ground up. Like, come on, controller. Man, this controller just doesn't like me today. Boop boop. Boop boop. Boop boop. There we go. But yeah, I made even a tabletop RPG based on the world, or at least dot hack GU. You know, like taking the subclasses, the environments, and, you know, just everything, and just kind of converted it into a tabletop format. I have to admit, I hate Haseo in the beginning, but I do see his development in Volume 2 and 3 that I like. And I think it's because of his arrogant attitude and his overall standoffish personalities that makes his redemption in Volume 3, and even the progress he makes in Volume 2, that much more special, because you do see him grow from this arrogant, like, lone wolf that is just wants to do everything himself. He like, why have friends when they would just betray you type of attitude, to a guy that values the connections that he makes, you know? That's why I say Dot Hack GU has one of the most like has one of the best character developments, and especially for characters like Atoli. My gosh, she got so much in this game, and it is done really well. And it's like, especially if you go into kind of like the roots of her backstory and everything, it gets dark. Like, Dot Hack is surprisingly dark in a mature way. And I'm not talking like all blood and guts and, you know, just kind of like in your face kind of mature. I'm talking like the subtle, like the subtlety of the darkness in which humanity is, and just how people experience their real life. And just, it gets really sad and kind of like hits you to the core in a lot of ways, you know? Like, and not just with Adelaide, but with, you know, like going back to Gaspard, you know, just essentially almost getting bullied off of the game that he loves because people were just that arrogant, you know? But it's only because he stood up for himself that he managed to, like, become, like, a much better, you know, much better character in the long run, because he's not afraid to stand up to these bullies anymore, you know? And then you got someone like Endrance, who, you know, used to be another character from the previous series, going through, not able to cope with loss, and then it's only because of Haseo that, you know, he manages not to get over Mia, but to come to grips with the fact that other people need him just as much as he needed Mia. And it's really nice to see that develop. And guess what, guys? We're level 40! Woo! Level 40! Yeah, let's finish up this dungeon, and then we are good. Level 40. This means we're officially under the 10,000 EXP required. Excuse me, wow. I'm so excited I started to hiccup. So we're gonna go ahead and finish this, but yeah, just to quickly sum up my thoughts on GU. I think GU is probably one of the more important titles in my life, and I do owe a lot to this series because of it. And like you said, I love the world, I love its characters, I love the little details that this series has that maybe not noticed in the first couple of playthroughs, but when you go back and just see like how things play out, you can see the seeds of deception in some of the antagonists. You can see just kind of like where like the characters start to grow and like where they would end up being. It's one of those series that I am glad is now being revived in the form of Dot Hack Zero. I think Zero is going to be... I don't know if it's going to be a great game, but I know it's going to be a game that the community has been waiting for a long time. And that is an encouraging thought, you know? And honestly, you know for sure I'm going to be streaming Zero, like when it comes out. I will be taking some time off to streaming this game, or Dot Hack Zero, for you guys. And just kind of like giving my thoughts as we go along. We talk about like the different ways to go about it. Me too. I love the game when I start to play Mutation. Scathe gave me a bad time. Oh yeah, Scathe? Oh yeah, like the first time I fought Scathe, very difficult, like very much difficult, but I found, not necessarily found a way to beat it, but just stack up on, water element equipment, as well as some defensive boosts, items, and gear, and then Scathe's ice, judgment, or what, I think it's just called judgment. There we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and quickly recap before I finish my thought. So we are at 72 hours? No, that's experience. Where's the time? There you go, so we are at 72 hours, 3 minutes, and 4 seconds for the time. There you go. Alright, and now for the experience needed So right now it is 9,981, if I'm doing my math right. So let's go ahead and do that. 9,000. Oh, not that. See, look at this. 9,981 experience. Sub 10,000. That is crazy. And now we gotta do the math with this. We gotta see how many more battles we need. So we get the almighty calculator. So 9,981 divided by 3. We need about that's experience. There you go. So we need about 3,327 more battles. We are sub 10,000 for the experience that we need. We are now level 40. We are almost done this challenge, guys. We are almost done. 10 more levels. At the very least, 8 or 9 more streams. And .hack is going to be making some history here. You know? It might not be the most glorious of challenges, but at least I'm glad to show the world, no pun intended, that, you know, games like this, this kind of challenge could work for GU as well. And this is just volume 1. Imagine doing this for volumes 2 and 3. It's going to be a lot easier then because you got the speed boosting items, but still, we definitely have it. And so, friends, to send you guys off for the night, let me go ahead and let's see. Do we have enough people for Twitch? No, we don't. So, anyway, guys, if you haven't already, go hit that follow button. It's absolutely free. Or if you're on the YouTube side of things, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. You can also head to our Discord if you want to be notified as to when we go live, when we have like polls. We got a small community that we're slowly growing. We got a lot of nice people, a lot of creative people. I'm also a .hack YouTuber. I do .hack topics for .hack people, and yes, we do variety streams with some wonderful people. And so, friends, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming on tonight. Let me see. Just a quick shout out to everyone who is here tonight. So, thank you, DOJ. Thank you, McCoy. You know, thank you very much, Jesus. I do appreciate each and every one of you and the conversations that you brought with this. I look forward to streaming again. But for now, I hope all of you stay classy, stay beautiful, but most importantly, have yourselves a wonderful night.